So your association is all in on Microsoft, which is great. But now you're facing a pretty high-stakes decision. Which association management software is the right one inside that ecosystem? Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and do a direct comparison of two of the heavy hitters, Altai Systems and Protech AMS. By the time we're done here, you're going to have a much clearer idea of which path makes the most sense for you. Hey there, I'm a digital marketing associate with SmartThoughts. We're an advisory firm, and we pretty much live and breathe association technology. Our whole mission is to help leaders just like you navigate these really complex, really important decisions with a whole lot more confidence. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll meet the two main contenders. Then, we'll dive into their unique strengths. What makes each one special? After that, and this is crucial, we'll talk about the trade-offs. From there, we'll turn the tables and look at the critical questions you need to be asking yourselves. And finally, we'll map out how you can get to a really solid, confident decision. Okay, let's start with that 30,000-foot view. It's super important to remember that both Altai and Protech are built right on top of Microsoft Dynamics 365. That means they share this incredibly powerful enterprise-grade foundation. But, and this is really the whole point, they come at the association world from two very different philosophical angles. So what's the core difference here? Well, Altai uses what they call a configuration-first model. You can think of them like expert renovators who are customizing a luxury condo. And that condo is Microsoft Dynamics. They're a fantastic fit for organizations that are just completely all in on the entire Microsoft stack. Protech, on the other hand, was the original. They were the very first AMS on Dynamics. That 15-year head start means they have an incredibly mature, time-tested platform that's really built for larger, more complex associations. All right, now for the fun part. Let's look at what makes each of these platforms genuinely stand out. And just to be clear, this isn't about picking a winner. It's about really understanding their specific superpowers, so you can start to see what might click with your association's DNA.
Okay, Altai's big thing is flexibility. You could say it's their superpower. First off, their member portal is CMS-agnostic. And trust me, this is a huge deal. It means you don't have to blow up your existing website just to work with their system. Second, their whole philosophy is configuration over customization. You use native Microsoft tools to adapt the system, which helps you avoid those custom code nightmares when it's time to upgrade. And of course, you get the keys to the entire Microsoft kingdom. We're talking AI, Power BI, and all the automation tools.
Now for Protech. Their strengths really circle around maturity and deep integration. That 15-year head start, it means their workflows for associations are just incredibly polished and refined. Their LX365 feature is awesome. It embeds Microsoft Power BI dashboards right inside the AMS, so your team isn't bouncing between different tools to get member insights. And this is a big one. They have built-in payment processing. This solves a massive headache for a lot of associations by handling all your payment types in one place, which drastically simplifies reconciliation. Okay, let's be real for a minute. Every single powerful system out there comes with trade-offs. The goal is not to find a platform that has zero limitations, because, spoiler alert, that platform doesn't exist. The real goal is to find the system whose trade-offs you can totally live with, the one whose whole approach just clicks with your organization's resources, your culture, and your long-term strategy. You know, choosing between Altai and Protech isn't about finding the better software. It's really about a strategic gut check on your priorities. Is having maximal flexibility more important than having something that's super mature right out of the box? Are you aiming to build a self-sufficient team, or do you really prefer having more vendor handholding? These are the kinds of questions we've got to dig into. I really want this to sink in. What I'm about to share, these aren't deal breakers. Think of them as strategic forks in the road. They are considerations that help clarify which path is truly the right one for your unique association. So with Altai, the first trade-off to consider is its foundation. It's a CRM first, one that's been brilliantly configured for associations, not a purpose-built AMS from the ground up. Now that gives you incredible flexibility, but it might require your team to start thinking a little more like a sales team and less like a traditional membership team. And that leads to the second point. To really get the most out of Altai, you often need stronger tech resources in-house. Finally, their whole philosophy is about teaching you how to fish. This is amazing for building self-sufficiency, but it could be a bumpy road if your team is expecting a lot of day-to-day vendor support. Now let's talk Protech. One thing we hear in peer reviews is that making changes after you've launched, the cost and the time it takes can sometimes be a challenge, so that upfront planning phase is absolutely critical. And because it's such a powerful, robust system, there can be a bit of a learning curve, especially for users who aren't already living in a Dynamics environment. And lastly, like any platform built on another company's tech, Protech's future is naturally tied to Microsoft's big picture strategy and where Microsoft decides to focus its energy. Okay, so we spent a lot of time looking at the platforms. Now we need to turn the lens inward. To really nail this decision, you have to answer some pretty fundamental questions about your own organization. Think of what's coming next as a framework for your internal discovery process. First question, and it's a big one. How complex is your membership structure? Are we talking about simple individual and company memberships, or do you have really intricate rules around dues, renewals, and hierarchies that demand a ton of flexibility? Next up, what's your organizational model look like? Do you have to manage a bunch of different chapters or sections, or maybe even a whole federated structure where data sharing and reporting get really complicated? This is a core architectural thing to figure out.
Now think about your events. Are they mostly simple webinars and luncheons? Or are you putting on huge multi-day conferences with complex registration tracks, exhibitors, and maybe even certification requirements? The level of depth you need here is a huge factor.
And finally, is there a system in your tech stack that is absolutely non-negotiable? Maybe it's a specific learning management system or a financial package that has to integrate perfectly. Your answer here could really point you towards one ecosystem over the other. So, as you can probably tell by now, picking between Altai and Protech isn't a simple coin flip. It's a really nuanced process. It's about carefully aligning a platform's design and its philosophy with your association's very specific needs and goals. The truth is, the right choice really boils down to your specific membership model, your budget, the technical skills on your team, and where you want to be in the next 5 or 10 years. There is absolutely no one-size-fits-all answer here. At SmartThoughts, we've personally guided over 200 associations through this exact same decision-making process. We've seen what works, and believe me, we've also seen where things can go sideways. And you know what we've found? Most associations, when they go it alone, they overlook some really critical and often costly pitfalls, especially when it comes to the nitty-gritty of data migration and Shento planning for user adoption. I mean, you can buy the perfect software, but if your data's a mess and your team doesn't want to use it, the project is destined to fail. Please, don't let that be you. The best next step you can take is to get some objective clarity for your specific situation. If you're an association executive who's trying to figure this out, I really want to invite you to book a complimentary 30-minute consultation with our team. Just go to smartthoughts.net. Let's talk about your needs and figure out which one of these amazing platforms is truly the one that aligns with your association's future.